So tell me about the Battle of Danny Boy. Got the Military Cross awarded for you. Tell me why that was awarded and what that was like at the actual checkpoint itself.
It's a very good question, because at 23 I didn't really understand what awards and honours were, if I'm brutally honest. And there's actions that are witnessed by your chain of command, and from your subsequent bravery, courage, true grit, determination, you're then written up for an award. And my name was read out in Germany when we were all in the theatre as being awarded the Military Cross, and I was like really, really shocked. And it's a mixture of emotions, because there was a few of the guys on the battlefield that day who didn't get anything and deserved everything, so it's a mixture of emotions for sure. Yeah. But I was proud, for sure. My parents were overjoyed, and I got to take my mum and dad and my wife to Buckingham Palace, which was, other than my kids being born and my wedding day, was the best experiences I've ever had, and something I'll treasure for sure forever.
So the battle itself then, because you talk about that it was trench warfare, so how long did it last, this whole engagement?
It lasted for like 3.5 to 4 hours from start to finish. It was odd, because where we were ambushed, we weren't in the city, we were out of the city, we were in like farmers' fields, a few irrigation ditches. Yeah, very random. When I looked at the map, I was like, we're like nowhere near the city, what's going on here? We're closer to a checkpoint, which was called Checkpoint Danny Boy. And it was just very violent, and you're probably in about 70-degree heat because you're in the back of an armoured vehicle. But you have to deal with that. At this point, we were probably acclimatised anyway, and there was a decision made by my vehicle commander, Stick, and it was to leave the vehicle and counter this ambush. I asked him again, because it's not a command that you get told to do very often. You train for it clearly as a frontline soldier to conduct a section attack, but to actually do it for real, it's like, say again. And he just said, look, we need boots on the ground. We have to, we're not having any effect from the armoured fighting vehicle, the Warrior, so yeah, stand by and prepare to dismount. And that was it. I was just fully engaged, and clearly the adrenaline is like an outer body experience. My heart is smashing against my body armour plate. We only had them square little plates at that point, front and back. They actually use them for the Rangers now, but that was our body armour at the time. I knew I had to be a level-headed leader, just kind of reassured the guys who were getting out with me, sort of give them as much information as I knew, how far it is, the holding position. I delivered it to the guys in the back, and then I just said, like you see in the film, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Because once that door opened, I didn't have a clue really what was going to happen. But what I was going to do is lead by example. I was always going to go first, for sure. And when the door opened, it was like a bright light from the desert sun, come straight in, squinting, overwhelmed with adrenaline, and then hard and fast to this holding position. There was only 3 of us at this time. Managed to get to the holding position, and was there for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then we were joined by 2 other soldiers who dismounted from another vehicle. A commander more senior than me was on the ground now, which was good and reassuring for myself, and he also done his combat estimate. We agreed that the best course of action was just to go up over the top and just work as a section in 2 teams, team of 3, which was me and my 2 guys, and him and his other guy, and we were just going to go forward and just conduct a leapfrogging method, 1 foot on the ground, and just go forward and hope for the best, really. And that's what we did. We went up, over, and just conducted this real aggressive stance across 120 metres of open ground, being fired in from our Warrior, giving us cover and fire. And it was a bit of a blur, because you're now engaging this enemy force. Some of them are starting to extract from that holding position that we were looking to take, could see them moving, so these like were human enemy, and it was like, oh bloody hell. And we just had the real upper hand, and at this point there were no casualties, and yeah, we just rolled it up, and as we were on our last bound to basically eliminate anything else that was in that position, they threw the weapons down and surrendered, and that's when we had to go from violence to then the arrest and restraint, and to do that in a split second is very difficult, but we did it, we managed. There was a lot of confusion initially. I was just solely concentrating on the threat which I had, which was someone being very verbal, throwing his hands around, and we had to make sure that, you know, we were in charge, so it was like very firm, and you had to move the weapons because all weapons were laid out on top of the positions as well. We had to move them and make sure they were clear, so there weren't going to be opportunists. And once we got settled in that position, I was like, I can't even believe what we've just done there. And I had my first sip of water, and at that point my company sergeant major joined us on the battlefield, and he come to see me and said to me, asked me if the battlefield was clear, and you see it in the film, and I said it's not clear, and he's like, okay, leave this, we're going to go and do a clearance patrol. It only shows you snippets in the film on how it actually was. It was brutal, but it was a job that had to be done, and it lives with me today, if I'm honest. It's nothing that you can shake.
No,
it was
you can
extreme,
tell
it's extreme trauma.
Yeah.